The relentless rise of wild boar populations across the United States has become one of the most pressing concerns for farmers, hunters, and wildlife managers alike. What was once viewed as a localized nuisance has now spiraled into a nationwide crisis. These animals, sometimes called feral hogs or razorbacks, are far from ordinary farmyard pigs. They are powerful, intelligent, and alarmingly destructive. With their numbers climbing into the millions across more than 35 states, they've become an ecological and economic threat that can no longer be ignored. For farmers, the stakes are especially high. High-value crops like peanuts, corn, soybeans, and rice serve as irresistible buffets for wild boars. These opportunistic omnivores root through the soil for tubers and seeds, trample rows of young plants, and devour fully ripened crops before harvest. In just a single night, a social group of wild boars can reduce acres of carefully planted farmland to wasteland. Some farmers report financial losses in the tens of thousands of dollars each year, with recovery taking entire growing seasons. What makes the damage even more devastating is its unpredictability. Unlike pests that can be forecast through seasonal patterns, wild boars strike when least expected, moving silently under cover of darkness, leaving behind trails of destruction before vanishing back into the woods. Adding to the urgency of the ISSUE is their remarkable reproductive capacity. A single female, known as a sow, can produce 2 or even 3 litters in a single year. Each litter typically includes 4 to 6 piglets, but numbers can be higher when food is abundant. This exponential growth means that even if half a population is removed through hunting or trapping, the numbers can bounce back within a year or two. In regions where natural predators such as wolves and mountain lions have been eliminated or reduced, boars multiply unchecked. In some states, populations are doubling every 4 to 5 years, creating an ever-growing cycle of destruction. The ecological consequences go far beyond farmland. Wild boars are aggressive competitors in natural ecosystems, uprooting native plants, devouring ground-nesting bird eggs, amphibians, reptiles, and even small mammals. Their rooting behavior, where they dig through soil in search of food, destroys native grasses, destabilizes riverbanks, and contributes to erosion. Wetlands, prairies, and forests all bear the scars of their presence. In some areas, entire plant communities have been altered due to repeated disturbances caused by foraging boars. This displacement of native wildlife creates a cascading effect. As deer, turkeys, and other species find their habitats compromised. But what makes these animals particularly challenging to control is their intelligence. Wild boars possess keen problem-solving abilities and an uncanny sense of survival. Primarily nocturnal, they adjust their behavior based on human activity. In areas with heavy hunting pressure, they shift to foraging at dusk or dawn, moving silently and in zigzag patterns to evade detection. Hunters often describe them as ghosts of the night, appearing in large numbers only when least expected. Their social structure adds another layer of complexity. Traveling in sounders led by dominant females, these groups share information, teach young piglets how to forage, and even appear to coordinate movements to avoid traps and ambushes. For many farmers, traditional deterrents like scare devices, simple fencing, or occasional hunting are no longer enough. Instead, large-scale management programs have become essential. Many states now encourage active hunting of wild boars year-round with few restrictions. Specialized trapping systems, including corral traps that can capture entire sounders at once, are employed to make a significant dent in populations. Wildlife managers emphasize the importance of coordinated efforts, as removing just a handful of boars from an area often does little to reduce long-term damage. Entire groups must be targeted, monitored, and removed to slow population growth. Ethical hunting practices play a central role in these management strategies. Farmers often partner with hunters who have the experience and equipment necessary to track and humanely dispatch wild boars. Night vision scopes, thermal imaging cameras, and aerial surveys with drones are increasingly part of the toolkit. But the effort isn't simply about reducing numbers, it's also about maintaining balance. Hunters and managers alike recognize that while wild boars must be controlled, the methods used must align with principles of safety and respect for the land. Consider a real-world scenario on a peanut farm in the southeast. As night falls, the farmer knows his fields are at risk. A sounder of wild boars has been spotted in the area, and the damage is already visible along the edges of his crop. He calls in local hunters, who set up strategically with night vision scopes and silenced rifles. They know that the key is patience and precision. The goal is not reckless firing, but targeted removal. Each shot must count, and each movement must be calculated. As the herd emerges from the tree line, the hunters act quickly. The scene is intense. Every second matters. The farmers watch closely, not out of bloodlust, but out of necessity. Every acre saved means hundreds of dollars preserved and months of hard work protected. These kinds of operations demonstrate how collaboration between humans and wildlife managers can mitigate the risks posed by wild boars. It's not a war waged out of hatred for the animal, but out of respect for the fragile balance of agriculture and ecology. The boars are survivors, products of centuries of adaptation, and they command a certain respect for their resilience.
If you'll enjoy this video, please like and subscribe my channel for more information.